Big stories, small space. Condensed novels, a spark, a twist, an ending that stays with you. The Great Gatsby. Author, F. Scott Fitzgerald. Published, 1925. Genre, literary fiction, tragedy. Summary. The Great Gatsby is narrated by Nick Carraway, a young man from Minnesota who moves to New York in the summer of 1922 to learn the bond business. He rents a small house in West Egg, Long Island, a wealthy but unfashionable area populated by the new rich who have made their fortunes recently and lack social connections. Next to Nick's modest house is an enormous, lavish mansion owned by J. Gatsby, a mysterious millionaire who throws extravagant parties every Saturday night but rarely appears at them himself. Across the bay lies East Egg, the more fashionable area where old money families live. Nick's cousin, Daisy Buchanan, lives there with her husband Tom, a brutish, powerful man who was in the same social club as Nick at Yale. Daisy is beautiful but listless, and her marriage to Tom is troubled. At dinner, Nick meets Jordan Baker, a professional golfer and Daisy's friend. Jordan reveals that Tom has a mistress, and Nick sees Tom taking a call from her during dinner. Tom later takes Nick to the Valley of Ashes, a desolate industrial wasteland between West Egg and New York City. Above it, a giant billboard with the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg watches over the area. There, they stop at a garage owned by George Wilson. Tom introduces Nick to George's wife, Myrtle, who is Tom's mistress. They all go to a small apartment in Manhattan that Tom keeps for their affair. At a vulgar party there, Myrtle becomes increasingly assertive about her relationship with Tom. When she repeatedly mentions Daisy's name, Tom breaks her nose. As summer progresses, Nick receives an invitation to one of Gatsby's parties, which is unusual because most guests just show up uninvited. At the party, Nick finally meets Gatsby. Contrary to the rumors surrounding him, Gatsby is a young, elegant man in his early 30s with a charming smile. He speaks formally and calls everyone old sport. Gatsby takes a particular interest in Nick and later asks Jordan to explain Gatsby's history to him. Jordan tells Nick that Gatsby and Daisy were in love 5 years earlier in Louisville before Gatsby left to fight in World War I. Daisy comes from a wealthy family, and Gatsby was a poor officer. He made his fortune after the war and bought his mansion in West Egg specifically to be across the bay from Daisy's house, hoping to recreate the past. The extravagant parties are all an attempt to lure Daisy to one of them. Gatsby asks Nick to arrange a reunion with Daisy. Nick invites Daisy to tea at his house, without telling her Gatsby will be there. The reunion is awkward at first. Gatsby knocks over Nick's clock and is visibly nervous. But once they are alone, Nick returns to find them radiantly happy. Gatsby then takes them on a tour of his mansion, showing off his possessions. He shows Daisy his collection of imported shirts, and she breaks down crying, saying she's never seen such beautiful shirts. To Daisy, Gatsby's wealth now makes him worthy in a way he wasn't before. Despite their rekindled romance, trouble brews. Tom begins to suspect the relationship between Gatsby and Daisy. Gatsby wants Daisy to tell Tom she never loved him and to leave him immediately, but Daisy is hesitant. The tension comes to a head on the hottest day of summer. Gatsby, Nick, Jordan, Daisy, and Tom drive into the city. At the Plaza Hotel, Tom confronts Gatsby. He reveals that he has investigated Gatsby and discovered that his fortune comes from bootlegging and other illegal activities with the gangster Maya Wolfsheim. During the confrontation, Gatsby demands that Daisy say she never loved Tom. She is unable to do it. She admits she loved Tom at one point, which destroys Gatsby's dream of erasing the past 5 years. Tom realizes he has won and cruelly sends Daisy back to East Egg with Gatsby, saying he trusts her. Driving back to Long Island, Daisy is at the wheel of Gatsby's yellow car. On the road through the Valley of Ashes, a distraught Myrtle Wilson, who had been locked upstairs by George after he discovered her affair, runs into the road. She believes Tom is driving the yellow car because she had seen him in it earlier. Daisy hits Myrtle and kills her, but does not stop. Gatsby decides to take the blame to protect Daisy. Nick finds Gatsby hiding in the bushes at the Buchanan house that night, making sure Tom doesn't hurt Daisy. Nick looks through a window and sees Daisy and Tom conspiring together at the kitchen table. It becomes clear that Daisy will not leave Tom. The next day, George Wilson, driven mad by grief and manipulated by Tom, who told him Gatsby owned the yellow car, tracks Gatsby down. He finds Gatsby in his pool, waiting for a call from Daisy that never comes. Wilson shoots Gatsby and then turns the gun on himself. After Gatsby's death, Nick is left to arrange the funeral. Despite the hundreds of people who attended his parties, only 3 people come: Nick, Gatsby's father Henry Gatz, and one man named Owl Eyes who had been impressed by Gatsby's library. Daisy and Tom leave town without a forwarding address. Maya Wolfsheim refuses to come, saying he can't get mixed up in it. Disillusioned with the East Coast and the moral emptiness of the wealthy, Nick moves back to the Midwest. He reflects on Gatsby's dream. Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgastic future that year by year recedes before us. He had an extraordinary gift for hope, a romantic readiness that Nick had never seen in anyone else. The tragedy of Gatsby is that his dream was tied to Daisy, a woman who was ultimately unworthy of it. She and Tom were careless people who smashed up things and creatures and then retreated back into their money and vast carelessness. Gatsby's greatness lay in his capacity to dream, but his dream was corrupted by the materialism and superficiality of the Jazz Age. Nick ends his narration thinking about Gatsby's wonder when he first recognized the green light at the end of Daisy's dock. Gatsby had come a long way to this blue lawn, and his dream must have seemed so close that he could hardly fail to grasp it. But he did not know that it was already behind him, somewhere back in that vast obscurity beyond the city, where the dark fields of the Republic rolled on under the night. The novel closes with one of the most famous lines in American literature: "So we beat on boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past." This reflects the central theme that we are all shaped by our pasts and that the American dream, as Gatsby pursued it, is ultimately illusory. His attempt to repeat the past was doomed, because the past cannot be recreated, and the dream he chased was built on a corrupt foundation. Fitzgerald uses the story to critique the Jazz Age of the 1920s, a period of economic prosperity, cultural change, and excess. The characters represent different aspects of American society. Tom and Daisy represent the established aristocracy of wealth, born into privilege and morally bankrupt. Gatsby represents the self-made man and the corruption of the American dream. He achieves wealth, but only through crime, and he believes money can buy happiness and love. George and Myrtle Wilson represent the working class, destroyed by the carelessness of the rich. The Valley of Ashes symbolizes the moral and social decay hidden beneath the glamour of the era, and the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg suggest a godless world where there is no moral judgment watching over humanity. Nick serves as both a participant and an observer. He is from the Midwest, which Fitzgerald presents as a place of more traditional moral values. Nick is drawn to the glamour of the East, but ultimately repelled by its emptiness. His judgment that Gatsby is worth the whole damn bunch put together shows that despite Gatsby's criminality, his capacity for hope and love makes him more admirable than the careless, selfish people of East Egg. The symbolism in the novel is rich. The green light represents Gatsby's hopes and dreams for the future. The color green is associated with money, but also with hope and promise. The Valley of Ashes represents the byproduct of industrialization and the moral wasteland of the era. Gatsby's mansion, with its imitation of a Hotel de Ville in Normandy, represents the new rich trying to buy their way into old money society. The weather often reflects the emotional tone. The pivotal confrontation occurs on the hottest day of summer, and Gatsby dies in the fall, as summer and his dream end. In the end, The Great Gatsby is not just a story of unrequited love. It is a cautionary tale about the American dream. It asks whether wealth and status can truly buy happiness, and whether it is possible to transcend one's origins. Gatsby's failure suggests that the dream is flawed, especially when it is based on materialism and the desire to recapture the past. His greatness and his tragedy are inseparable. He is great because he dreams, and he is doomed because he dreams of something that cannot last.